Welcome, everyone, to your full moon in Aquarius, Tarotscopes and Horoscopes for your full moon on Monday, August 19th, 2024. I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying your summertime and Leo season, which is going to soon come to a close. Next week, the sun will be entering Virgo, so get in your fun as much as possible. Not that you can't have fun when the sun is in Virgo, but Leo is known for having a really, really good time. So welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Joshua the Psychic. You can check out my website, psychicsun.com, for a list of my services, including your horoscopes, your written horoscopes for this lunation. Psychicsun.com. The link to that is in the description below. So we have quite the full moon, folks. Good evening, Casmar. Nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining me. So this is the chart for the full moon. Sorry about the house placements, unless you're in Los Angeles. So we have where the yellow is. If you look where the yellow highlights are, you got the sun and the moon opposing. That's what a full moon is, when the sun is in the opposite sign of the moon. So the sun's in Leo and the moon is in Aquarius at 27 degrees. Now look at that other yellow. Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus. So what this is, you got an opposition, of course, between the sun and the moon, and you have both the sun and the moon making a 90-degree angle to Uranus. So this is a T square. You can tell because it looks like the letter T. And we're going to talk about what that means, but essentially something's got to give. There's going to be some kind of tension and something will break. Squares make stuff happen. But wait, there's more. If you look at the blue here, the blue highlights, you got Venus at 18 degrees Virgo and Saturn at 17 degrees Pisces. That is an opposition. And look where the other blue is. It's at 17 degrees Jupiter. You could even also call in that 19 degrees Mars at Gemini. So that's also a T square with that opposition between Venus and Saturn and that mutual square with Jupiter as well as Mars. So you got two T squares, and you also have a nice little aspect. Chiron in Aries at 23 degrees is making a nice trine to Mercury and a nice sextile to that Aquarius moon. So it is quite the chart. And you might not be affected by this at all. There are plenty of full moons where there are gnarly aspects and you're completely fine. But if you have 27 degrees of a planet or a point at 27 degrees of the fixed signs, that's Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo, you might be feeling this full moon. But it's all to help you to grow and evolve. So let's look at these aspects more carefully. First of all, full moon. What is a full moon? It's a time for culmination, completion, and illumination. It's a period to reflect on your progress, release what no longer serves you, and celebrate your achievements. What have you achieved? You probably have achieved a lot, but you're so busy achieving things that you don't recognize what you may manifested already. So this phase will bring clarity. It will reveal hidden truths, most likely, and offer you the opportunity to reap rewards of efforts made throughout the lunar cycle. So from that new moon in Leo that we had in the 4th of August, you might start to see now manifestations of what you had intended during that period. So again, could it affect you? Most likely it will, especially if you have 27 degrees of the fixed signs. Again, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus in your chart. Okay, and if you're not affected by it, you might have a friend or a significant person in your life who does have this. So it can be like a ripple effect. I think that we'll all be affected in this with this transit in some respect. On the actual Aquarius full moon, the moon is void, of course, so it might happen before the full moon or after the full moon, not necessarily right on Monday the 19th. So with that first aspect, that T square that we spoke about with Uranus and Taurus, it's going to urge us to balance self-expression with our emotional needs. How can we allow ourselves to express ourselves with that energy of Leo while maintaining homeostasis or that comfortable place? This T-square is going to call for innovation and adaptability to manage conflicts and disruptions. So you want to allow yourself to think of a new way that might be better than the old way. It might not be you having to choose between A and B, but there might be another alternative, a third alternative. Now, Venus in Virgo is got also opposite Saturn, and that also forms another square with Jupiter as well as Mars, really, in Gemini. So we're going to be having to reassess our values and our relationships and really look at our desires and how we can balance those with our responsibilities. And with Venus in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces, we're having to create harmony between our idealism and our practicality. Venus, especially in terms of love, is not happy in Virgo. So we might need to be extra careful in our relationships, not being too picky, not being too pedantic, and allowing for things to slide if you can. Not always do you need to let things go and acquiesce, but choose your battles carefully because Mercury is retrograde. And if there's something that you can like let go or always assume positive intent, give the benefit of the doubt, you're going to be in a better position. And that Chiron trining the sun in Leo and sextiling the moon in Aquarius is going to foster healing and self-confidence. So be sure to embrace your unique creativity and address your past wounds with renewed strength. So with all these squares, all these aspects, the whole point is for us to think of a new way. The Aquarius energy is very, very innovative. It wants things to be fresh. We want to feel free. And in order for that to happen, there sometimes has to be some conflict. Like you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, so to speak. So we're going to go through all the signs and see how you might make the most of this lunation. So for Aries, the full moon will be in Aquarius in your 11th house. So you're probably going to conclude projects related to your highest dreams, hopes, and wishes. There might be stuff that you're going to be completing in terms of your social groups, maybe your goals. Maybe you have a big dream that you're putting the final touches on with this full moon in Aquarius. You do have Uranus in your second house of finances. So unexpected financial changes may lead to new and innovative opportunities. So again, this isn't necessarily definitely going to happen, but with Uranus aspecting this new moon and it being in your second house, there might be something in terms of your values or finances that experience some kind of disruption. But again, that's only so you can become richer, so that you can fulfill more of your values, right? Because that Uranus is shaking things up. You might have a switch in values. You might say to yourself, oh, geez, well, this isn't nearly as important to me as this. I'm right now realizing, therefore, I need to reprioritize, right? Which is key during Mercury retrograde. Also, if something financially is not working out, there might be another opportunity. Remember, God doesn't close a door without opening a window. So let's see, Aries, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries. Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is an immature archetype. It's just like lightning, right? It just goes for it. So you might be distancing yourself from the familiar during this period. You might be making some clean break. You might be darting in there and doing something that is very, very bold. And if it's measured, if you feel like there are no risks that are really involved in it that are detrimental to your life, well, go for it. I think that with Mercury retrograde, Knight of Wands is certainly not the best energy to employ. But if things have been building and you've been looking to move on, or you've been looking to make some major move, especially if it had started prior to Mercury retrograde, then go for it, right? Just go for it. And I would say prior to Mercury retrograde, maybe prior to the 16th of July, because that's when Mercury entered its pre-shadow period. So go out on a limb. Maybe you need to go out on a limb, Aries. I think that if it feels right and if it's not hasty, if it's something that you've considered previously, I would go for it. And happy full moon. So Taurus, happy full moon in Aquarius, Taurus. This one's hitting your 10th house of status, professional life, how the world sees you by virtue of what you do. It's your passion. It also has to do with awards. and how the world sees you. So you might be finalizing something professionally. There might be a big professional project you're completing, and you might get illumination in terms of the next stage of your career. Where do you want to go professionally? And that could be really, really great. I also would say, because full moon is shining a light on your career professionally, do what you can to really step it up. Be sure to show up on time and make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. A little bit of effort to make sure that everything's all buttoned up would be wise due to Mercury retrograde. And because that light is shining light onto your career. Now, you do have Uranus in your first house. So you're going through a change of identity in a lot of respects. You might be changing your personal routines. You might be determining, this is who I want to be next, right? This is the next stage. And I would say, with the full moon in the 10th and Uranus in your sign, you might be planning on making some big move professionally. And it's about you seeing yourself as somebody else. Maybe there's a new professional move that you want to make. Maybe you're getting illumination this cycle as to, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be this. And as a result, you're going to have to change your identity. You're going to have to change how you perceive yourself. So if you've always been director of marketing, for instance, you're going to then have to be like, okay, well, what would it be like if I was director of PR? And then you got to start seeing yourself in that new role, identifying with that new role, and essentially playing that new role professionally. So let's see, Taurus, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus. How nice. So Four of Wands is wonderful. This is a card of Thanksgiving. Four of Wands is like a sense of relief. Crowley calls this Lord of perfected work. So things are going according to plan, and now you're going to get to relax. This is like homecoming. This could be a reunion. This could be Thanksgiving. This could be you finally achieving some degree of relaxation. Maybe you get that promotion, or maybe you buy that house, right? But this is all about Thanksgiving. So congratulate yourself and do whatever you can to celebrate, right? And it's also important to remember with the Four of Wands that in the process of trying to make something work, to celebrate those little successes along the way. And nice card, Taurus, and happy full moon. So Gemini, this full moon is hitting your 9th house. It's easy for you, right? Again, we don't know your whole chart, but generally the 9th house is all about your expansion, your growth. You might be completing something educational. Maybe you're completing a publishing or a broadcast project. Maybe you're finalizing travel plans or setting new learning goals. The 9th house is all about you taking a leap of faith, you going beyond your comfort zone and allowing yourself to explore more of the world and more of yourself. It also may have to do with you sharing yourself with more of the world. When you're going through a 9th house transit, it's good to imagine your energy going all around the world. Is that through you publishing a book that is well known? Is that through you actually traveling? But it's about you allowing yourself to expand and grow and broaden your horizons, see things from a new, broader perspective. Now you have Uranus in your 12th house. So you're probably going to want to make sure that you're giving yourself suggestions before you go to sleep. You know, always make sure that you're thinking positive thoughts before you go to sleep, because with Uranus in your 12th house, your subconscious might be awakening to a lot of things. You might want some extra sleep. You want to really look at how you are the creator of your own reality. And with Uranus in your 12th, you might realize, oh, geez, I always do this. This is a pattern of behavior that I have. I have a belief that is not conducive to my goals. So expect those hidden insights into your psychology and see what you can do to empower yourself on a subconscious level. Also, there might be some hidden stuff that comes to light with Uranus in your 12th house, and it'll be important for you to integrate your newfound knowledge for this next stage, right? How do you want to integrate what you learn about yourself, about what you learn about anything that's new? How can you integrate that into your expansion? Okay, now that I know this, I can expand and grow this way. So let's see, Gemini, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon Aquarius, wisdom for Gemini, 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 wisdom for Gemini. Aw, how sweet. So you get the Six of Cups, which makes a lot of sense. The Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. It can be about the past, sweet, innocent times, sweet, innocent pleasures. In terms of romance, there's a romantic component to the Six of Cups as well. It is about enjoying yourself and going on dates and whatnot and appreciating the tokens of love, but not committing to anything until sure. And it also doesn't have to necessarily pertain to romance. It's about simple, innocent pleasures, doing a good turn for another. You water your friend's plants when he's away, and then he feeds your cat, right? So it's like a balance. But this is one of the better cards of the deck. And it's really about getting back to simplicity and how can you allow yourself to tap into just those simple, innocent pleasures that allow you to appreciate just kindness and youthfulness and maybe some nostalgia. The answer to the Six of Cups is often in the past. So there might be something in the past that's coming up, which makes sense with Mercury retrograde. And you're going to get an opportunity, I would say, with your transits to see things from a broader perspective. Remember, you always have the power to see things differently. And with the Six of Cups, you might be able to perceive, especially your past or a past relationship, in a new light. So happy full moon, Gemini. Cancer, your full moon in Aquarius will be hitting your 8th house. So in a lot of respects, you're going to be going through some kind of metaphorical death, most likely. There's going to be some kind of letting go. Whenever we have an 8th house transit, there's usually something that we're releasing from our lives. The 8th house has to do with joint resources you may have with other people. Say you're in a business partnership with somebody else. This full moon is going to shine a light on it. Maybe you're going to go to that next level. Maybe you need to iron out some details about what is yours, what is theirs, what is your responsibility, what is their responsibility. And the 8th house is pretty sexy. It's a intimate house, and this might have to do with your intimate connections, sexually as well as monetarily. However, you're sharing your resources with somebody else, or somebody else is sharing their resources with you. So there's a light being shown on your joint resources with other people and anything pertaining to intimacy. This might be you completing a cycle with a business partner, either going to that next level or parting ways. Same thing in terms of it being a sexual partner. There might be somebody that you're no longer going to see, or there might be somebody that you actually decide to go all in with. Now you have Uranus in your 10th, so there might be some kind of surprises with your social network or your community or your friends. And there might be some changes in regard to your group of people that you associate with. And it could bring some really nice, exciting opportunities. Also, with that 11th house Uranus, there may be a hope or a dream or a wish that you realize. You're like, oh, geez, this is it. This is an opportunity, which could be really good. And I would say combined with the 8th house, this is a great opportunity. You might be able to go to the next level in your business, especially if you sort of piggyback on another brand or somebody else who might be doing something along the same lines as you, or somebody who could be very complementary to your business. So I would say that you definitely want to connect with other people during this transit, because it could be very advantageous for you, especially if you're looking for a benefactor or an angel investor, or even just a group of people that can help spread the word about what you want to do. Likewise, if you're looking for intimate connections, you might be able to find them in some kind of social group. Maybe you do a meetup or you join a club and then you meet somebody That can either be a business partner or a romantic partner. So let's see, Cancer, what wisdom you get from the Tower for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Cancer. 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 Swiftness. Oh boy. So you get the Eight of Wands. This is a little tricky card. It's Mercury in Sagittarius, and Mercury right now is retrograde. So this isn't the most welcome card during Mercury retrograde. Why? Because it means that things are going to be taking off very, very quickly. However, again, if you've started things prior to the retrograde, prior to July 16th, then you're going to be okay. But this is about striking when the iron is hot. There's probably going to be a lot of communications around you. Also, the Eight of Wands can be like love at first sight. It's about speed and things happening quickly. So there might be some really, really great developments. Sometimes with Mercury retrograde, there are fated events that happen. All of a sudden, things come together and boy, you get the partner you need, or you get the resources you need. And again, if you've started it prior to the retrograde, all the better. It looks like you probably did, but strike while the iron is hot. Make sure that you're moving forward with plans that have already been well thought out, or ideals that you've already considered, as opposed to ideas that are brand spanking new. So congratulations, Cancer. Enjoy that for your full moon. So Leo, happy birthday, Leo. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your season. The full moon, of course, is in your 7th house of partnerships. So a light is being shown on your partnerships. Maybe you're going to be able to resolve conflicts this lunation. Maybe you're going to fortify the relationships you're in. Maybe you're going to say bye-bye to somebody, or maybe you're going to actually pop the question to somebody, right? Because that full moon is getting really, really big. Might be a matter of something has been building, and pop goes the weasel. You either take your relationships to the next level, you ask somebody out, or you send them on their way. In any case, you're supposed to understand better your relationships this period and go to that next level. And there may be conflict in regard to that, but again, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And you got Uranus in your 10th house. So while relationships are big for you this lunation, there might be something happening professionally. There might be career changes afoot for you, which are going to provide you new pathways for advancement and growth. Again, if there are conflicts going on right now, either in your relationships or your career, this is a great opportunity because the universe doesn't want you to really suffer, right? It wants you to make those moves that are more authentic. So if you're having conflict in your relationships or your career, do your damnedest to be flexible and say, okay, maybe there's a new way. Maybe there's something I haven't considered, because you're going to want to be flexible. And remember, the universe is on your side. The universe is your friend. So if you're getting all this nonsense in terms of your relationship, in terms of your career, there's a reason for it. That conflict is pushing you to go to that next level, to innovate, so you can be as happy as possible. So don't be afraid to make those changes professionally and in your personal relationships. So let's see, Leo, what wisdom you get from the Tower for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo. Five of Swords. So Five of Swords is a rough card. I mean, it's a few different meanings, like all the cards. On one hand, it could be like a Pyrrhic victory, right? You win, but like at what cost? And the big meaning with the Five of Swords is it's about going for the win-lose result. You want to allow yourself to balance things. If you have somebody in your life and you know that they're very, very tricky and that they are not your friend, or they are not honest and quite frankly not a good person, well, you need to have self-interest. You got to watch your back. But you don't have to watch your back around everybody. Not everybody's out to get you. And you want to make sure that you're only going for that win-lose result when you really, really have to. Otherwise, of course, you're a team player. You want to go for that win-win result. Even if you are leaving a relationship, how can you make an amicable split, right? How can you Even in terms of a job situation, if you're transitioning, how can you make this a successful transition for everyone involved? Sometimes that's not possible, right? So I would say with Five of Swords, watch your back if you have to, but always go for that win-win result. Because remember, the karma that we take from one situation or relationship, unless it's healed, unless we feel good about its turnout, we're just going to bring that into the next relationship. That's why it's always a good idea to get as happy as possible in the job that you're in and then leave, or, be as happy as possible in your relationship, or thank the person for giving you that experience, etc. You want to have peace in whatever it is that you're changing so you can move on to a new relationship or job in which there's more peace. Otherwise, we take it with us. So keep that in mind, Leo, and enjoy your full moon. Virgo, happy full moon. This one's hitting your 6th house. So the 6th house is the house that your sign really rules. It's about your lifestyle, your day-to-day processes, your health, your habits, your work, what you do day in and day out, the nuts and bolts of your day-to-day operations. And with a full moon there, you might be finalizing a work project, which might be really nice. Finally, it's getting done. You see the finish line. And you also might decide to really zone in on your health and your routines, your diet, your health, what you do to feel as good as possible. Because you want to make sure that your body is really tuned up. And in order to do that, it's about your habits. What are you eating? How much are you sleeping? What kind of exercise are you taking? So the full moon might shine a light and be like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep having all of this food, or I can't keep not exercising in order to feel as perfect as possible. And that's the key to the 6th house. You want to feel as perfect as possible. And you might be finishing up a work project, or you might even be finishing up a job with the full moon in the 6th. If so, again, you want to make sure that you feel good about it and that you are moving into new directions that are more fulfilling. Now, you got Uranus in your 9th house, so there might be some kind of travel that's a big surprise. You might get an opportunity to go abroad. You might get an opportunity, even, again, it could be a work-related opportunity that gets you out of the country or pretty far away, like 3,000 miles away. You might find yourself also having an opportunity for education, learning something new. So there's something that's going to open up your horizons this new moon, full moon, which ought to be very nice. Let's see, Virgo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Virgo, 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 wisdom for Virgo. Queen of Wands. So this is a Leo card. I would say with the Queen of Wands, it's all about developing. Queen is inner, right? Because she's feminine. Inner confidence. Wands, fire. So this is an opportunity for you to really allow yourself to be very Leo, right? How can you allow yourself to be fiery, generous, enthusiastic, confident? So this is telling you to express your inner confidence. How can you get that spark within to really shine bright? It's by following your excitement and allowing yourself to let that guide you to do what excites you and not being afraid of that spark, right? And I would say with the Queen of Wands, it's really about allowing yourself to embody that fiery essence and to really get used to feeling confident and identifying as somebody who is confident. Because with your self-construct more aligned with Queen of Wands, you're going to be able to make bold moves. I'd say, especially in terms of your 9th house, in terms of your expansion and your growth. 9th house has to do with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is certainly a Leo thing. Many, many Leos. I'd say most out of all the signs of the zodiac, Leo is probably the entrepreneur because they don't like being told what to do and they like telling other people what to do. So you want to really honor that inner Leo, this transit. How can you allow yourself to tap into that energy and to feel fiery and confident? And you should be great. I also think that with Queen of Wands, it's about being confident. And in terms of your 6th house, well, if exercising makes you feel great, particular exercise you like to do, or meditating, or some kind of activity that lights you up and fills you with joy, well, Queen of Wands would do it. And the cool thing about Queen of Wands, she really doesn't make much of a fuss about things. She just does it. There's some people in their lives, they have so much passion, they're able to do multiple things. They're able to either have a job and have really great relationships, or have a family and also have a career. Queen of Wands can do that. She just does it without having to make a big thing about it. So allow yourself to balance all the different things in your life with that passion, and you should be all set. So happy full moon. So Libra, happy full moon. This one is nice for you. It's hitting your 5th house. 5th house is all of those things that just light you up with joy. Your creative projects, your creations, even your children, if you have any children. Also has to do with affairs that you may have, anything romantic in nature. If you're in a relationship already, this is about creating that new spark. If you're not in a relationship, this is a good transit for you to go on dates, to have fun, keep it light. The 5th house, again, it's not putting a ring on it. It's enjoying yourself. It's enjoying fun and laughter and really tapping into that inner teenager energy. Now, you will have Uranus in your 8th. And the 8th house has to do with other people's resources. It has to do with intimacy. It's about shared resources. So with Uranus there might be some kind of change or some kind of insight in terms of your shared finances with somebody else, or an intimate partnership. Now, utilize this opportunity for more pleasure, for more joy, and allow yourself to roll with the punches. You might get a sense of what it is that you need in order to feel as good as possible, to have as much fun as possible. I also would say with Uranus in your 8th, there might be some boundary that you set or you dissolve. This could be as simple as you dissolving a boundary with other people. Maybe without realizing it, you're a little bit cagey when you're going out to the club or dancing and you want to invite more people in, or maybe you feel like you're attracting the wrong type of person. You want to create more of a boundary, but there's probably going to be some kind of change in terms of the boundaries that you set or the boundaries that you dissolve. You'll probably be setting a boundary or dissolving a boundary during this period. And the point of that is so that you have more joy. Because remember, the full moon is shining on your 5th house, and it's teaching you what you need to have your whole life lit up a lot more brightly, right? So let's see, Libra, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Libra. 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 Perfect. Well, this is a very welcome card. 9 of Cups, you're going to be like the cat who ate the canary. Yep, just sitting very pretty, very chuffed, very pleased with the way things are going. The 9 of Cups is about pure self-indulgent satisfaction. You're just going to be very, very, very pleased. And happiness begets happiness. So, if you could allow yourself to stay in that energy of being in the wish fulfilled, like think about what it is that you want and say, okay, well, if I had this, how would I feel? And you want to maintain that posture, right? But this would say that you're going to be able to get your wish. Just be careful what you wish for, because with the 9 of Cups, you might get it. Otherwise, it is a card of really just enjoying yourself and being very cat who ate the canary. It's not big in terms of relationship because it's a 9 and the 9 pertains to the Hermit. So this is more of like a self-satisfied card, but it's about you getting your wish and being very happy, which is certainly well-deserved. So happy full moon, Libra. I'm glad you got the 9 of Cups. Great card. And Scorpio. So Scorpio, the full moon in Aquarius is hitting your 4th house of home and family. It really has to do with your emotional security. What makes you feel emotionally secure? What is your emotional foundation? So during this full moon period, you may be completing tasks related to your home. Maybe you're renovating, maybe you're moving, maybe you're cleaning out, maybe you're decluttering, maybe you are redecorating, right? It also may have to do with your actual family, your kin, right? Maybe you are mending fences or creating more of a free flow of dialogue between you and other family members. Maybe you're connecting. Maybe you're having house guests, right? But there's something that you're completing in terms of the home and family, domestic realm. But at the end of the day, the full moon is shining a light on your emotional security. What's going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy, yummy on the inside, all tucked in and mama bared? Because the fourth house has to do with your divine mother. How can you mother yourself? How can you connect to that divine mother and feel completely 100% supported? Because with a strong emotional foundation, there's literally nothing that you won't be able to do. It really starts with that. It starts with that background that you have, where you're coming from. So let the full moon shine a light on what you need to feel really emotionally content and secure. And that might mean, because it's a full moon and the full moons are about letting go, well, what has to go bye-bye? Is something undermining your emotional security that you need to let go of in order to appreciate the sense of comfort and peace and support that you deserve. Now, you will have Uranus transiting your 7th house of relationships. So there might be some kind of surprise in terms of your relationship, or there might be some kind of awakening, realization in terms of a relationship. You might meet somebody really quickly. You might realize that somebody is not who you thought they were. In any case, the whole point of Uranus in your 7th is to awaken you to what you need in terms of your partnership. So you might find out somebody new in your life that you can collaborate with or relate with. That could be that missing piece in your life that's really great. But essentially, there might be some kind of surprise in terms of relationship, etc. Thank you very much, Kasmar. I appreciate that. I'm going to look at that right after we do the general Scorpio reading. I appreciate your super chat. So let's see. Generally, first, what Scorpio needs to know are some wisdom for Scorpio for this full moon. Let's see. Wisdom for Scorpio. 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 King of Cups. So for Scorpios, the king is mature and masculine. So there's a certain degree of control, and cups have to do with water. So this is about emotional mastery. You're going to probably be feeling a lot of emotions during this full moon, especially because you're going through a 4th house transit. And also with Uranus in your 7th, a relationship transit. Those are both hitting your angles. So you might be feeling a lot of emotions. And the King of Cups would say, well, you want to honor your emotions and care for yourself during this period, but you also want to be in control of your emotions. In this card, the King of Cups has the fish in like a necklace around his neck, right? So he's aware of that emotions, but he's not being pulled around by them, essentially. So you want to allow yourself to understand your own emotions, respect your own emotions, respect other people's emotions, be caring, considerate, and kind, not just to yourself, but to other people with what you and they might be going through on an emotional level, but don't let yourself be ruled by your emotions. Good rule of thumb is don't make any moves unless you're happy or in a good space. And happy full moon, Scorpio. So let's see here, Kasmar. Thank you for your super chat. Family work schedule is changing. Oh boy. Let's see. How will it go? Will it go okay? Let's see for Kasmar. What does Kasmar need to know about family work schedule changing? Will it go okay? Okay. Okay. Let's see. Better than okay. Yeah, you're going to be really, really good. So I love this. Really, really good. So the first card we get is King of Pentacles. So the King is all about maturity, and the Pentacles is about money and wealth. So in order for you to achieve more wealth and your family to have more wealth, etc., this change in terms of your work and family schedule is necessary. So it's all being spearheaded by this energy of wealth. This Kings start things, they're initiating, they're cardinal. So this is a new beginning, something that's being started for long-term wealth and prosperity. But what? Wait, there's more. You also get Three of Cups. So not only is this a financially well thought out new plan, but it also is going to bring more abundance emotionally, right? So it's not like you get, oh, I have all this money, but I'm not able to see my family more. I'm not able to enjoy my emotions. No, you're going to get that too with the Three of Cups. So this is going to allow for more celebration, more flow of energy, more emotional abundance. Really, really good. And I would say with the Eight of Wands, you know, there's going to be a lot of communications. There's going to be a lot more activity than you might experience. And I feel like that's going to be probably the challenge, is that there's just all of this stuff that's going on. And it's like, oh, geez, we got to incorporate this. So remember, when we start something under the retrograde, we don't always have the information. So overall, this is a really, really good move for you in terms of your schedule changing. But there are going to be new things that come up that's sort of like, oh, okay, well, we got to incorporate that here. How are we going to make sure that Cindy gets to go to ballet class, or Brad needs to go to karate, right? You're going to have to incorporate new information in terms of your plans. But I would say overall, it's going to be very, very good for you. So congratulations, Casmar. Yeah. Well deserved. Well deserved. Thank you. Cool. Well, yeah, let me know how it goes. I think it's going to go great. And thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate it. So Sagittarius, this full moon is hitting your third house. Again, it's kind of easy for you. However, it's aligned with Gemini and you have Mercury retrograde. So you want to make sure you're taking a little bit of extra time getting your stuff done, right? Because you never know what you might miss. Sagittarius, as a rule, is not really good at the minutia, the details. They're good at the broad, big picture, but they're not good at zoning in on the details. So do whatever it is that you need to do to wrap up your communication projects during this time. There might be something that you're doing with your local community, with your neighbors, with your siblings. The third house doesn't incorporate a lot. So you're finishing a cycle. You're ending really a communication cycle. So something new might be happening in your life, and you're no longer going to that coffee shop, or you're finishing up a small project, or you're doing something different than you had been doing before. The third house often has to do with those things that you do on a regular basis, right? So, for instance, your kids might be starting to go to school, right? Returning to school during this period, which means that you're going to have to finish up whatever it is that you were doing before, like the communication cycle you were in before. But this is going to shed a light on how you can make your day-to-day interactions and your communications and essentially that flow of energy that you have every day. How can you make that better? And you're going to wrap up things that are no longer really working, or things that are just over. Like I said, you might be starting a new cycle with your kids going to school, or you going to school, etc. Now, there's an opportunity with Uranus in your sixth house. I mean, there are going to be changes going on in terms of your work, most likely, or your routines. This does sort of echo that third house. So essentially, your day-to-day lifestyle looks like it's going to be changing. There might be changes in terms of work. You might decide to incorporate new habits into your life. But essentially, this is all about you getting your life to run more like a well-oiled machine, right? There's going to be things that are happening for you communication-wise. To say, okay, well, this is how I want my day-to-day life. Maybe you're going to get an idea in terms of what you want to do in terms of work to make your work life easier. But I would give yourself just extra time. Like, get yourself early to work if you have to, just to go through things and check and double check. Or, check the Waze app before you wind up, going on a short trip. You just want to make sure that you're realizing that the day-to-day activities that are going through changes during this period, they are subject to change. And it's okay, because, that's what Mercury retrograde is all about. It's about fine-tuning things. It's about slowing things down so you can make sure that after the retrograde, everything is just so perfect. It's like boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's more orderly. It's more structured. So don't be afraid if you're not able to sort of nail down that day-to-day plan or your regular activities straight away, because that will come in time. Now it's just a matter of closing things up and saying, okay, well, maybe we do this. And again, you want to take your time with things, just because with Mercury retrograde, they might not be going as smoothly as we expect. So check and double check. I would say also, it's good for you to have a list during this period, like a list of things that you need to take with you, just so you're not having to go back, oh, I forgot this or I forgot that, because there's a lot of activity during this period. It's hitting your 3rd and 6th houses, a lot of information, a lot of responsibilities. So you want to be gentle on yourself. So make it easy. So let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius, which is generally a really good time for you. Wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius. So 5 of Cups comes up. This does not mean that you're going to be disappointed. It's more a matter of sometimes we don't finalize things until they reach this point in which we're no longer being fulfilled. And with the 5 of Cups, this would suggest that there might be something mentally with your 3rd house or something in your lifestyle that is making you feel disappointed. Now, again, with it being a 5, I feel like the 5s also align with squares. So it might be a matter of during this transit with all these squares that we have, that there's something that is disappointing to you. Now, that is not enjoyable, obviously, and I'm sorry about that if that does happen. Again, it may not. These are highly general readings. But if something does disappoint you, it's a matter of that's to help you get to that next level of, okay, well, what's going to make me feel fulfilled? Right? And in this card, 3 cups have fallen and he's focused on those, but 2 cups also remain. So one of the meanings of this card is something lost and something gained. And once you mourn what has been lost, you can actually see what remains. But I would say that if anything is disappointing you, particularly in terms of your communication, your social life with other people, or even in terms of your work or your day-to-day habits or your lifestyle, etc., well, allow that to inform what might make you happy. Again, if we didn't have this contrast, if certain things didn't really upset us, we wouldn't be able to really determine our preferences, right? So you might be like, I don't want to do this anymore. This makes me sad or unhappy. And in realizing what you don't want, you realize also what you do. So if you are disappointed during this transit, look at it as a rite of passage. Something to inform you about what you need to do in order to get what you want, in order to experience more inner peace and fulfillment. So take care and good luck with that. And Capricorn. So Capricorn, this full moon in Aquarius is hitting your 2nd house. So you're wrapping up financial matters. There might be some kind of financial matter that comes to a head. There might be also something in terms of your values that you're realizing. With the full moon, a light is being shown, not just in your finances, but on your personal values. You might realize this full moon, I really value my independence more than a relationship, or I really value money more than drinking. They're going to stop drinking so much, right? Or whatever it is that you realize that you care about actually more than you have historically given credit to, right? So you want to make sure that during this full moon, you're allowing yourself to look closely at what is being brought up. There might be something financial that you're able to get that you hadn't realized before. Maybe there's a financial opportunity. Maybe there's a write-off tax-wise, although taxes usually have to do with the 8th house. There might be some kind of hidden money that you're able to see, or something that you can do. You realize something that you can do to make more money. I think also, again, You know, it really might be about your values. This might be a wake-up call this full moon and be like, what am I doing? I don't even care about this. Why am I putting all this energy into this when I really don't care about it? What I care about is this. So there's more of a light being shown on your values. Meanwhile, Uranus is in Taurus, hitting your 5th house. So you might find yourself falling in love at first sight. There might be something that is creative that really grabs you. So there might be some kind of unexpected changes in your creative pursuits or your romantic life that leads to new and exciting opportunities. I would definitely do whatever it is that you can to have fun. You might want to combine these two and say, oh, wow, who knew? This is a great hobby that I have that could bring me a lot of money. And I don't usually counsel gambling, but the 5th house does have to do with gambling and risk. And the 2nd house does have to do with money. So you could put these two together and, give yourself limits, but there's definitely some wins that you can make when you're taking a risk during this period. I would just, again, be very conservative with all those squares. You just never know what could happen. But expect some new opportunities, especially aligned with your fun and your money. There could be something good there. So let's see, Capricorn, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Capricorn. Capricorn. Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups is, on a positive note, it's about really being contented and satisfied and not really needing any more. It's like, you're good. You don't really need anything, right? The problem with the Four of Cups is it can be about taking things for granted. Usually, if you look at the card, you got, 3 cups are in the ground and 1 cup is being offered to him, and he seems sort of ambivalent to it, right? So typically with 4 of Cups, 2 things are happening. Either you're giving love to somebody and they're like, whatever, they don't care, or somebody's giving something to you and you're like, whatever, don't really care. Or it could be a third thing. You're just good. You're just good. I would say that, with all these squares that are going on, it is good for you to establish that sense of emotional contentedness. So then with all the stuff that's happening, the light that's being shown in these different areas of your life, you can actually, on a rational level, say, okay, well, this could add to my life. This can make me even more happy, or this might interrupt my homeostasis, and I don't want that. I would say with the 4 of Cups, the big rule of thumb is to keep things nice and comfortable, be satisfied, but eager for more. This guy in the card is not really eager for more, but at least he's emotionally satisfied. So if you can allow yourself to get comfortable with what you have and feel comfortable and cozy and really just emotionally neat is a big 4 of Cups thing, I think you're going to be in a good position this full moon. So happy full moon in Aquarius, Capricorn. And Aquarius, happy full moon in your sign, Aquarius. This is hitting your 1st house, so you might be completing a personal project. It might be a personal goal that you have that you're reaching. It's reaching fruition. The 1st house is also about yourself and how you show up in the world. So you might be moving forward in terms of your self-improvement. You might have a personal objective that you're achieving this period. Essentially, a big light is being shown on you. So you might be very popular during this full moon transit, and you might be sought out for help or guidance or by your friends, etc., family. And it's going to be important for you to look at who you are and who you want to become, and really who you may have been before that you don't want to be any longer, right? The full moon is all about letting go, and the 1st house is about yourself. So what part of your self-construct no longer fits? Are you playing a role that no longer really serves you, that doesn't serve the world, etc.? If so, you can let go of that old role. Now you got Uranus and Taurus hitting your 4th house. So there might be some changes in terms of your domestic life. There might be a new family member that comes into the picture. Maybe a baby is born. Maybe some family member needs your help. Maybe you're redecorating. Maybe you're remodeling. Or maybe with Uranus in your 4th, there's an awakening to what you need in order to feel emotionally secure. So there's something that is being brought up in the fourth house. That's your foundation. That's your emotional security. That's your roots. That's where you're from. That is going to change. So you may want to think about what it is that you need for that level of emotional security, for you to feel really, really supported by your family of choice or your family of origin, and how you can give that level of support to yourself. So it should be a very big deal for you. I would say with all of these squares that are happening, allow yourself to be flexible, roll with the punches. Again, unless you have, one of those fixed signs at 27, you may not be affected at all. But if you do have a planet or a point between, say, 24 and 0 degrees of, let's say, 0 degrees of, I would say 20, since it's at 27, you might want to look at and see if you have anything, say 24 to say 29 degrees of the fixed signs. Aquarius, if you're at Aquarius at those degrees, Scorpio, Leo, or Taurus. But, essentially, because it is in your sign, you probably will be affected more than other signs, but you want to be flexible and allow yourself to look and see who it is that you want to be in this next stage of your life, and see if you can correlate it with your sense of emotional security. Maybe allow yourself to self-identify as somebody who's very emotionally secure, and then everything will work out. So let's see what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in your sign. Wisdom for Aquarius, 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 wisdom for Aquarius. King of Cups. So again, the kings are about maturity, it's about masculinity, and the cups are about emotion. And it's about emotional mastery and emotional maturity. So again, with the full moon in your sign, especially depending on where you are, Aquarius or Aquarius rising, it might make you very emotional. And you might be, if you're even not affected, other people may be. So it's about honoring your own emotions and other people's emotions and respecting them, understanding them, but not being controlled by them, not letting them overtake you. So you want to allow yourself to maintain that sort of like on your eagle's perch, right? You want to rise above things, allow yourself to respect what's going on emotionally within yourself and with other people, but you don't want to be thrown around by your emotions because it could be a very emotional time. So emotional security and emotional mastery and emotional control for the win. Okay, Aquarius, and enjoy the full moon in your sign. And last but never least, my Pisces. My Pisces. So Pisces, this full moon is hitting your 12th house. So, this is a wonderful time for you to get some extra rest, because the most stuff that you're going to be able to get done during this period is probably when you're sleeping. It's probably behind the scenes. You might find yourself wanting to be private this full moon, taking it down a notch, quieting down things. And you might be finalizing things that are behind the scenes. Maybe you have a secret project you've been working on, or getting everything buttoned up for yourself in your life. And you want to make sure that you're finalizing those things and you're getting your extra rest and you're giving yourself your subliminal suggestions, etc. Meanwhile, you have Uranus in your 3rd house. So there's probably going to be a lot of communications that come up that might interrupt or disrupt your sense of inner peace, right? Because with Uranus in the 3rd house, this comes up and I didn't understand this, and I have to do this. And again, it's a 3rd house that's very communicative. Mercury is retrograde. So there also might be things that are coming back that you're like, I got to take care of that. But it's all good. It's all fine. You're just going to want to make sure that you're balancing that quietude and that rest and that extra sleep with the extra activity that's probably going to happen with Uranus in your 3rd. With Uranus in your 3rd being activated with this full moon, there's probably going to be a lot of communications around you. You're probably going to have to really, really make some clear moves. Like, does this require your attention? You're going to probably get so much information that you're going to have no choice but to say, okay, I can't be bothered with this. This is irrelevant. Like, think of it as like you're getting all these invitations, all these invites. Well, you can't say yes to all of them. even an invite to a conversation or an invite to an argument. You don't have to say yes. And I would say with the 12th house and the third house going on around you, be very judicious as to what you engage with, what you talk about, who you talk with, etc., and what takes over your mind, because your mind needs a rest during this period. It doesn't need a lot of activity. And with the third house, Uranus, there's probably going to be a lot of activity, a lot of communication. So you want to make sure that you're separating the wheat from the chaff. If something is not really important to you or doesn't align with your values, well, feel free to ignore it if you can, just because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on and you got to take extra good care of yourself. So let's see what wisdom for Pisces for this full moon in Aquarius. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Ace of Swords. I love it. So this is perfect because you have that third house Uranus going on, right? And with the Ace of Swords, it's a solution to a problem. So when you have this sword, right, think of it as a gift, right? It's coming up out of the blue and it's giving you this intellectual insight. It's giving you the ability to solve a problem with just your high intelligence. Like, what needs to change? What do I need to do in order for this to no longer be a problem? Or what do I need to do in order to get this result? So you have the mental sword of clarity for you this full moon. So it's going to give you an opportunity to really cut things out of your life that don't belong, and also introduce new things into your life that do belong, that do serve you. And I would really plan and organize and really think about what you want to achieve, outline things throughout August, and then around September 12th, launch. Because we're in Mercury retrograde until the 28th of August. Then it's going to be in its post-shadow period. So do yourself a favor and do your research. Figure out what needs to be done. Plan things, outline things. Utilize that Ace of Swords. And if you've already, started some projects, well, continue forward and go forward with them. And don't be shy. So long as that you started these projects prior to July 16th, you're in good stead. But with the Ace of Swords, you're going to have some solutions to a problem. Just, again, afraid to cut things out or incorporate things that might make your life easier. And happy full moon. And there you have it, folks. Thank you all so much for joining me for your full moon in Aquarius Tarotscopes and Horoscopes. Again, be sure to check out my website, psychicsun.com, if you're looking for your written horoscopes or any of my services. Take really good care. Have a wonderful full moon, and I shall see you also on Friday if you're catching this live for This Week Astrology every single Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, take care, everybody, and I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.